What is up, everyone? My name is Bearet, and sometimes I wear a beret. And yes, I am back. I took a little bit of a break from the channel. I admittedly meant to take a longer break, but I made a crucial mistake. I kept saying yes to products. Who would have thought? It's actually really easy to say no, you would think, but the one that really pushed me over the edge, of course, was this new little blaster that Nerf announced recently. We'll talk about that separately if you haven't seen enough of it already. So I'll be putting out review videos or just overviews of stuff in the coming months. No immediate schedule to share with you. I'll just kind of post things when they're ready. Starting with the fun one of today from Worker. Worker works in mysterious workers. The Worker works in mysterious ways. The Worker Harrier, this blaster, anyone who's played with me recently knows that this is like my go-to blaster. It's easily one of my favorites of the year. The Harrier is my ride or die for high FPS games. I really like this. Worker darts, Worker magazines, talons. I mean, Worker has created very important products for the foam flinging hobby, especially for high FPS games. Yet in the same breath, Worker makes some really weird choices. For every Harrier they make, there's a Wasteland Ranger. You've forgotten about the Wasteland Ranger? I haven't. I reviewed that a long time ago. And don't tell me for a second you forgot that they made a sequel. The Worker Wasteland Ranger 2? Even more expensive, 2 barrels. I'm actually really sad that I never got to play with that one. I'm pretty sure that retailed for over $100. Worker has some hits and they have some misses. Strangely enough, what we're talking about today is, well, yeah, where do you think this one lands on the scale? This is the, this is the, what is its official name? Worker 3D printed Nerf War Blade Foam Blaster. You could call it a ballistic knife. It's technically not because it doesn't shoot the blade, it shoots darts. That's what they're going for, right? It is in fact fully 3D printed. This is their F10 555 division of Worker. You can see it's actually printed into the shell on the handle. So yes, that does include this massive white blade in the front. Now this blaster was sent to me by Zhenduo for review, which I very much appreciate, and I took them up on their offer because I'd never actually seen this in person. Many months ago, or a year ago, time is really lost on me at this point, I saw a picture of this and I couldn't help but laugh. And after that, I just never saw it again. So it was cool to see that Zhenduo at least was selling them, so I asked, could you send me that one? Because I really want to check it out. I haven't seen anyone talk about this before. Well, it's not cheap. Like I said, similar to the Wasteland Ranger, it's entirely 3D printed, so the listing has it for $65.99 USD. Ouch. And this is the only color I believe that's available. This is the Fabu color scheme, if Jankler you're watching. The blaster itself is over 16 inches long, and even just the blade is 8 inches long. But I say again, that thing is entirely 3D printed. Everything you see here, fully 3D printed, which means you probably shouldn't go around stabbing people with this. Saying that out loud, I would hope it's obvious, but for extra reasons, no. To operate the dart knife, there is this one button on the left-hand side that you push just like that and the breech will open up. Now you can load either a full-length dart or a half-length dart. Both will fit because you can just breech load like so, close it up, prime it back, and it does stay, unfortunately, fully extended. You cannot push that back in. And then the trigger is right here. Pull that, and you fire. Very loud, rattly spring. Same thing with a half dart. Push it in the back, close it up, pull back, and so pushing the button, you can see this is the entire barrel, but the effective barrel is like only this section. It's less than an inch of effective barrel. And yes, obviously, as you probably figured out, you can just drop a dart down the front and you can feel that right about here for a full length, that's when the effective barrel actually kicks in. So if you're trying to use this quickly, or dare I say competitively, I would recommend just priming it, loading a dart, and firing it, priming, loading a dart, instead of actually breech opening it. But of course, there's a coolness aesthetic to that, right? There's more of a gimmick. You pay money for that gimmick, I suppose. Worth noting about the seal of the barrel as well, I've found that if you do hold the top of it you create a little bit of a better seal and get slightly better FPS, but of course that requires you to, hold the blaster like this versus like this, or dare I say, like this. Would something like the Nerf Jolt or the X-Shot Menace be a better choice for faster loading and probably more performance, Menace especially? Yes, but we're also talking about the worker dart knife. Who needs those? I'll put numbers up as I've found with some full-length options and some half-length options. No, they are not amazing. Again, the Worker Wasteland Ranger performance claims come to mind, or lack thereof of claims. I swear to God. Okay, I'm done. Another fun feature I've discovered, you can see that the breech is held into place with a spring underneath this screw, which you will often need to tighten because just after firing it a few times and having this pivot back and forth, it seems to want to really loosen itself. I could potentially make my own replacement foam blade and just insert that and lock it into place, making this a little bit more safe to use. The blaster itself is not that heavy. It feels pretty solid. It feels good in the hand. Swing, swing. No stabby. No slicing either. But the grip on the handle is, it's textured. It's interesting. You can see the trigger too, right here, is kind of small. So the Worker Dart Knife. Should you buy it or should you just buy a Nexus Pro? This is more expensive than that, isn't it? Darn. Well, obviously, this isn't going to appeal to a lot of people for very obvious reasons. And also the fact that this comes 3D printed, the blade, I wish they had thought to just put some foam here instead. I can imagine there is someone out there that wants some cool cosplay piece or just something unique, and this can scratch that itch. But it is still somewhat delicate because it is entirely 3D printed, so the use case is very limited, but the silliness factor and the, let's say, I'd run that in a war factor value is very, very high. So yes, I will try to use this at a future game. I don't know how successful it will be, but it will certainly look very, very cool. The quality of the 3D prints is very high. I'll be sure to include some photos or close-ups of the print quality because F10555 usually does a very good job. That's not the biggest problem with this blaster, of course, but I can't help but look at it and smile and think of what the possibilities could be. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Subscribe for more ballistic knives or worker foam dart knife toy launcher blasters. Ah, it's so loud. And I will see you next time with something completely different.